Hello everyone, welcome to Miscellaneous Monthly Part 4. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be talking about music today. To my knowledge, everyone on Earth likes music to some extent. In fact, you'd be considered criminally insane if you didn't like music. For example, my favorite band is Winter Sun, and my favorite album from them is their debut album, with my favorite songs from them being Star Child, Beautiful Death, and Battle Against Time. But what did that have to do with anything? Well, the names for them are relatively short. Battle Against Time is 3 words, Beautiful Death is 2, Star Child is 1, Winter Sun is 1 word, but the point I'm trying to bring across is this. Think about any band you like, any band you listen to on a regular basis. How long is their name? How long is the name of their albums? How long is the name of their songs, or any musician you can think of? Like, think of it. How long are their names usually? Pretty short. It's usually between 1 and 5 words maximum. NBA Youngboy is probably one of the most famous musicians with a relatively long name, whose name comes in at 5 words long, because NBA technically stands for Never Broke Again, so technically his full name is Never Broke Again Youngboy. But the point I'm trying to get across is names aren't exactly the most important factor when making music. Like, names are a lot like tablets and cars and stuff like that. Like, they're nice to have, but they're not a live or die necessity. Meanwhile, making actually good music is like food, shelter, water, clothes, and just human relation. Yeah, those are things that you're gonna need in order to function in society. And yeah, some of those wants could be incredibly helpful to help you function, but they're not something that you 100% need in order to survive. And that's the thing. Naming isn't as important as making good music. So, if you have a dedicated enough fan base, you could name your songs pretty much whatever you want, and they probably wouldn't bat an eye. They'd probably think, oh, that's a weird name, but they'd still listen to it because of who made the actual song itself. Like, for example, Dragon Force's Razorblade Meltdown. Why is it called Razorblade Meltdown? The words Razorblade Meltdown don't appear in the song's lyrics at all. And I've done genuine research on this. I cannot find out why it's actually called that. So, yeah, if any of the Dragon Force members happen to be watching this video, can you please explain in the comments why it's called Razorblade Meltdown? That would be really helpful. So, with that tangent over, I think we're ready to get started with some of the more tame names. Then we'll go to the names of albums, musicians, bands, and just songs that are just utterly ridiculous. Let's go. The first band we're gonna start off with is a duo from Germany called We Butter the Bread with Butter. They're a metalcore band that has a really, really dumb name. And let me just say this, what else are you going to butter bread with? Are you going to butter bread with margarine? Well, that doesn't make sense, because margarine can't be used as a verb like how butter can. Like, to butter something is to spread butter on it. You could jam the bread with jam if you want, but you can't butter the bread with margarine. You can spread margarine onto the bread, but yeah, it falls apart for variety. Like, if they want to make a spin-off band, they're basically screwed. They can't do that, but other than that, their name just kind of doesn't make sense, because they're a metalcore band and they have decently intense music, but their name, We Butter the Bread with Butter, does not sound intense when you hear it for the first time. It sounds more like a sentence that you'd hear randomly out of nowhere, more than the name of an actual band with over 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And also, We Butter the Bread with Butter does not sound intimidating in the slightest. So, yeah, other than that, I enjoyed the band. Pretty good music. And on the complete opposite note, let's talk about a band from Scotland with a truly terrible name. There are 2 bands from Scotland that I know of that I actually enjoy, Ailstorm, which I enjoy because, well, they're pirate metal. Who doesn't like pirates? And Gloryhammer because, well, I like Gloryhammer. But there's a third band from Scotland, an indie rock band. I don't think you're ready to hear their name. Do you want to know what it is? It's Dogs Die in Hot Cars. Yes, someone thought that this would be a good name for an indie rock band. This sounds more like the name that someone would give their black metal band, where they sing about, like, demons and stuff like that. When I'm listening to my Scottish indie rock band, I don't want to be thinking about dogs dying in a hot car. I don't want to think of that when listening to indie rock. So 0 out of 10. Thing is, I'm taking away your band naming privileges because you messed up so badly on this. Like, I just hate this name so much. The fact that it made me think about that. Like, I hate this name so much. Next band. The next band name isn't anywhere near as egregious, but it is still not very good. I present to you Hoobastank. Now, this is a pretty common target in videos on, like, the worst band name ever. A lot of people don't like the name Hoobastank, but I don't think it's interesting enough anymore because I've seen a lot of those videos before making this, and it's just not very interesting anymore. It was a terrible band name at one point for me, but now I feel like it's just kind of a normal band name. It's not too interesting anymore. Is it a terrible band name? Yes, it is. Why would you put stank in your name, even if it's a part of another word? That's really dumb, and people are gonna think that your music stinks because of that. But let me say this, Hoobastank has gotten kind of normalized. It's not exactly the worst band name ever, because trust me, there are far worse band names. In fact, Dogs Die in Hot Cars is a significantly worse name in my opinion, and I don't ever want to mention that one band again, so back to Hoobastank. From what I've heard, Hoobastank actually has some pretty good music and is actually decently popular. In fact, they have 9.4 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and their song, The Reason, has over 1 billion streams, which, I gotta say it, congratulations. That's actually pretty cool, I'm not even gonna lie. I did not know that Hoobastank was that popular, but yeah. Pretty sure nobody really cares about their name anymore. Some people don't like it, but most people who listen to them just don't care and just listen to them for their music. I also forgot to mention Fall Out Boy, because I can't make a video about ridiculous names that musicians and bands have without mentioning Fall Out Boy. Now, the name Fall Out Boy is very mundane and not interesting, but it's the name of their songs. For example, my songs Know What You Did in the Dark, there is This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race, and there's plenty more that I don't know off the top of my head. In fact, there's an iceberg for Fall Out Boy band names based off of length. Now here is said iceberg, 1 to 10 characters, pretty normal. Some of those songs you could probably recognize pretty well. 10 to 20 characters you could probably recognize pretty well as well. And then we have 20 to 30 characters. I think I saw one. I've seen, there's a couple of them that I recognize. 30 to 50 characters, okay, that's pretty crazy. And then 50 plus characters and average length songs. What kind of naming convention does Fall Out Boy have for their songs? Because it's pretty cool, I'll admit that. I do think the fact that they have multiple songs with 50 plus character long names is pretty cool. So yeah, let's go to the next band. Hootie and the Blowfish. It's an American rock band that had to make me look up what a blowfish is. Turns out a blowfish is just another word for a pufferfish, so yeah, that's all. I thought it was like a completely different thing, like how, I don't know. Like, when I was younger, I thought that like a lungfish and a pufferfish were like almost the exact same thing, and then I realized absolutely not. They are two completely different things. So yeah, I thought that at first, but then I looked it up and I was very uninterested. So yeah, that's basically all I had to say, because I don't think I've ever really heard anyone use that name for a pufferfish. Like, I either hear pufferfish or balloonfish sometimes. I've never heard anyone call a pufferfish a blowfish. So yeah, let's go to the next musician. Spot 'em got 'em. If you don't know, Spot 'em got 'em is a Florida mumble trap drill rapper who is most famous for being arrested several times, and for the reports using his rap name as the name instead of his actual name, which kind of increased his popularity dramatically when people would see memes about people with ridiculous names getting arrested. But yeah, Spot 'em got 'em is a rapper, and I think it's a pretty good rap name, to be honest, considering he has been arrested several times, so the police have spotted him, and they have gotten him. So yeah, let's go to the next musician. So, a while back in automation, I made this car called the Muso. It was allegedly named after this anime girl when I did the search of the actual car's name in that actual video, but that's not actually who the car is named after. The car is actually named after, you guessed it, Miles! If you don't know, Miles is a meme rapper who basically makes songs with stupid lyrics and just tries to make funny songs that don't really sound the best, but, well, they're meme songs. They're not supposed to really be that good. They're supposed to be ridiculous. And the thing is, I just wanted to give out a shout out because that's kind of all. There aren't any really, big particular examples for songs that or albums that have particularly interesting or cool names for this type of list. Yeah, there's Certified Trash, which is a pretty neat name. But then there's some of the songs. Some of the songs do have better names than other, but one of my favorite songs that I've listened to is probably Dinosaur by Miles, which goes like this. Shout out to the dinosaurs, shout out all the raptors, ah, 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 ah! And in that video, he just makes random dinosaur sounds, and I think it's kind of funny. So yeah, if you want to check it out, I'll have it linked in the description. And now, let's do a lightning round. In this lightning round, I'm gonna go over some band names, album names, song names, and stuff like that that I feel like are just a bit crazy, are just over the top and ridiculous, and just are particularly stand out. So, let's talk about them. Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine, Mammoth Wizard Weed Bastard, the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza, which is one of the coolest names I've ever heard in my entire life. If that name wasn't already taken, I'd probably rename the channel to that, to be honest. We have Flowers from the Man Who Shot Your Cousin Last Summer, Apocalypse Will Write Success Across the Sky, The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die, which is 14 words long. Congratulations on your decision to become a pilot. Pretty neat. And also, congratulations, I'm happy you became a pilot. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Probably the most famous of all these names since, well, it's an album from the Beatles, so yeah. And the Beatles were at one point the most famous band in the world, so it's kind of obvious why it's here. It's a ridiculously long name. Then we have My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, which is pretty interesting. I would set myself on fire for you. I'm not that devoted to anyone, to be honest, so, yeah, just no. My America is watching tigers die. That is horrible. What a horrible country to live in. Seriously, if I found out that if my government was watching tigers die, if that's how they were spending our tax dollars, I would probably just emigrate to Canada. Because no, I don't want to support a government that just watches tigers die and does nothing else. Suburban kids with biblical names. The first person to see an elephant. We don't know who the first person to see an elephant is, so yeah. Hopefully that person was as amazed as a child going to the zoo for the first time. The plot to blow up the Eiffel Tower, and before you doubt me, yes, every single one of these that I'm listing are in fact real band and musician names. Every single one of them is real. Don't doubt me on this. The Brady Bunch Lawnmower Massacre! Oh my, that is a gruesome name. Okay, that is a gruesome name, but it's definitely creative. I'll give them that. Meanwhile, back in communist Russia, about 54 people were sent to the Gulag by Joseph Stalin, our supreme leader. Now, on back to the band names. The accident that led me to the world. Pretty interesting, and also, I hope the accident wasn't too severe, but other than that, welcome to the world. And none of them knew they were robots. Great, now our secret is broken. All of them were robots. Are you kidding me? Don't tell them that. Seriously, you messed everything up. The 80s Matchbox Beeline Disaster. That does not sound good, and I hope everyone was fine afterwards. I can make a mess like nobody's business. Please inform the captain this is a hijack. Shut your eyes and you will burst into flames. The Revolutionary Army of the Infant Jesus. Oh my. Oh my. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start. That's an actual band name, not just the Konami code. The Presidents of the United States of America, which to my knowledge is a decently well-known band. Acid Mother's Temple and the Melting Parisio UFO. I have no idea what to make out of that, but yeah, it's one of the longest names for a band at about 40 characters long. Just insane, and I don't know what they're up to, but a melting Parisio UFO sounds kind of scary, so I want nothing to do with it. When people were shorter and lived near the water. Pretty nice. And last but not least for my lightning round, Johnny B by Equilibrium, which is a German metal band I like to listen to, and let me say this. All of the names of their songs, pretty good. All their songs, pretty good. Johnny B is the song I don't really like from them that much. It's an okay song, it's better than some others, but why is it called Johnny B? Who is Johnny B? And more importantly, why is he cool enough to have his own song? Seriously, why? I'll never get it. And now, I think that we can go on to what I like to call ridiculously stupid names, just for the sake of being ridiculously stupidly long, and are also kind of cool at the same time. That is the full title of this segment. And yes, I'm including that is the full title of this segment in that name as well. Composition of the sensibilities of melted knowledge. The spectral light and moonshine firefly snake oil jamboree. The powers of darkness shall rain blood upon this city for 500 years. And my favorite of these names, the Rock and Roll Double Bubble Trading Card Company of Philadelphia 19141. I think that's just a company name, to be honest, but yeah, pretty good band name, all things considered, and pretty crazy. Now, we're gonna go to the band names I learned when watching that Vsauce video on Will We Ever Run Out of Names? And here they are. How else would you pronounce that name? Diarrhea Planet. I can just tell you this, that is probably the crappiest name on this entire list, literally and figuratively, because, let me just say this, that sounds like the worst planet in the universe. 0 out of 10, I'm never visiting. And the next name is a name I really like. It is none other than Betty is not a vitamin, which Vsauce points out is no longer true since about 1994, when Betty finally got a vitamin for the Flintstones. And now, I present to you the Who ripoffs. And here they are. The what, the where, the when, the why, the how, and even none other than the. Someone decided to name their band The, which, you know what, I did not like it at first, but then I realized, you know what, it's their band name, and The is so dumb that I actually kind of like it, I'm not even gonna lie. Before going to our final section, I want to bring up one last band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I made a community post before making this video about this video topic, and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard was involved. It was their Live at Melbourne album cover with this cute little dinosaur popping out of an egg and some other stuff going on. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this album right here, which has this lizard right in front of a smokestack spewing out tons of disgusting smog. Now, this album cover right here is an accurate depiction of what Just Stop Oil, that stupid protester organization where people sit in traffic and do the stupidest methods of protesting imaginable. That's what they think the world will look like tomorrow if we don't just stop using gas and oil and stuff like that, which... Just no, I'm not even gonna make it into that. This is the album's name. The album's full name is none other than The Petrodragonic Apocalypse. That's the short name. The full name is Dawn of Eternal Night, an annihilation of planet Earth and the beginning of merciless damnation. That is the full name of this album right here. The full name. It's utterly ridiculous, but sounds cool for a metal band. And now, the next section that we're gonna cover is none other than my section on the coolest names I could find that I was actually comfortable with talking about in this video, because there were plenty of band names I was not comfortable with talking about, and I'm not even gonna begin to mention any of them, because I don't want any of them to be mentioned in this video, absolutely not. But now, let's start. There's a band that I would describe as a needle in the haystack, a band that made me really, really excited when I found them, and it's none other than a band that I'll just have to explain instead. So, you know how Jake Paul is trying to fight Mike Tyson? Well, imagine if Jake Paul and Mike Tyson were teamed up and they had to fight an 18-wheeler with their bare hands. Envision that in your mind. Now, since you've envisioned it, I introduce to you Truck Fighters! Truck Fighters is a Swedish rock band that I think is pretty cool, mainly because of its name. I've listened to some of their music, it's pretty decent, but that's kind of all I really have to say about it. I really like their name. It sounds cool, awesome, and just Truck Fighters. Like, that is just a really, really cool name that I just cannot get over how much I like it, and that's kind of about it. Now that we covered the needle in the haystack, let's go to the diamond in the rough. And I introduce to you Nero's Day at Disneyland. Nero's Day at Disneyland is a breakcore band, which is a genre of music that is not exactly your normal music genre. It's really fast. It's basically ridiculously fast techno music, essentially. And the thing is, I originally thought this name was really dumb because Emperor Nero is probably most famous for starting the Fire of Rome. But since I took some time to think about it, I realized that Disney movies have quite a lot of fire in them. In Pinocchio, he has to start a fire inside of Monstro in order to escape the whale. In the Jungle Book 2016, Mowgli accidentally sets the jungle on fire when bringing the red flower to all the animals. And that's not even all. Then there's Hunchback of Notre Dame, in which Frollo sets the city of Paris on fire. There is Treasure Planet, the beginning of it. I loosely remember it. A building, like a tavern or something, is set on fire in the very beginning or something. The planet they're on, I believe, explodes in fire or something. I really don't know. In the beginning of Tarzan, Tarzan's parents and Tarzan himself have to escape their ship, which is burning on fire. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel saves Eric from a burning ship, and it goes on and on. In fact, Disney's Elemental literally has an entire subsection of society made of people who are made entirely out of fire. So yeah, now that I think about it, I feel like Emperor Nero would really enjoy Disneyland. And now that I think about it, I forgot that Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars, which are both full of fire and explosions and destruction. And now that I think about it, I feel like Emperor Nero's favorite Disney movies would either be the Star Wars movies or Hunchback of Notre Dame, because they involve setting stuff on fire and religious persecution. Okay, I'm not exactly the biggest Star Wars fan, so I don't fully know if the Sith, like, killing Jedi is classified as religious persecution. But if it isn't, you can correct me in the comments. And that right there was our diamond in the rough. Now, let's go on to our Arkenstone. If you don't know about that reference, it's from The Hobbit: The Unexpected Journey, where in the beginning opening scene, there's this dwarf mining into the side of a mountain, and they accidentally dig up this stone, the Arkenstone, that's said to be the heart of the mountain itself. It's the most valuable gem in the mountain, and Smaug basically defends it with his life during the whole movie, essentially. And my Arkenstone is none other than regretting what I said to you when you called me 11 o'clock on a Friday morning to tell me that a 1 o'clock Friday afternoon, you're gonna leave your office, go downstairs, hail a cab to go out to the airport to catch a plane to go skiing in the Alps for 2 weeks. Not that I wanted to go with you. I wasn't able to leave town. I am not a very good skier. I couldn't expect you to pay my way. But after going out with you for 3 years, I don't like surprises. Subtitled, A Musical Apology by Christine Lavin. And this holds the record for the song with the longest name, at 97 words long. And yeah, it's self-explanatory. I don't need to explain anymore for just why. First of all, this is just way too long for a song title. Like, I'm all for giving your songs long, quirky names and stuff, but this is taking it way too far. And also, just that song, in order to explain everything fully and, I don't know, have it, like, repeated once or twice, you'd have to have that song be, like, at least 20 minutes long to explain everything, including the backstory and all that. It's just bananas, and I really like this name. So, we're done with that, and we're gonna go to none other than the Holy Grail of musician names, whether that be songs, albums, band names, you name it. And now, let's go. My Holy Grail is a very special pick, as it is incredibly long, ridiculously out of hand, and just the most deranged thing I've probably ever had to read out loud. And here it is, by Chumbawamba. The boys' bands have won, and all the copycats and the tribute bands and the TV talent show producers have won. If we allow our culture to be shaped by mini-cry, whether from lack of ideas or from exaggerated respect, you should never try to freeze culture. What you can do is recycle that culture. Take your older brother's hand-me-down jacket and restyle it, refashion it to the point where it becomes your own. But don't just regurgitate creative history or hold art and music and literature as fixed, untouchable, and kept under glass. The people who try to guard any particular form of music are like the copycats and manufactured bands, doing it the worst disservice, because the only thing that you can do to music that will damage it, not change it, not make it your own, because then it dies, then it's over, then it's done, and the boys' bands have won. Do you understand what I just said? that was the name of an album. Yes, that was the name of an album. Particularly by Chumbawamba, which is this British band that just, that showed up quite a lot when doing research for this. And, this is my number one pick for the most creative name for literally anything ever. Like, I don't think there's a single thing out there with a more creatively named thing. And this holds the record for being the longest album name at over 150 words long. Yeah, I cannot believe it. And with that, Miscellaneous Monthly Part 4 is finally over. Thank you so much for watching and making it all the way through. The research behind this video was actually pretty exciting because I got to learn a whole lot of things about music, particularly indie music, and I might have a new favorite band, Chumbawamba. Yeah, I'm gonna probably listen to them after uploading this video because that name of their album is utterly insane and it has definitely got my attention. So yeah, I'm gonna take a listen to it and I might make a review of that album possibly. I don't know. I might not, but well, and if you're wondering what my favorite name out of all the names we covered was, it is the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. Like, seriously, the name is super catchy, it's super fun in my opinion, it's easily memorable, but it's also long enough that it's unique as well. It's a unique name that can't be mistaken for basically anything else, and that's something that makes it truly special. And anyway, that's all. See you in part 5. Bye!